right, Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here with Niilo from Insomnium. How are you doing today?
All good. Thank you, sir. And pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and talk about your latest album, Heart Like a Grave. What a masterpiece.
Well, thank you. And I'm honored to be here, talk to you and talk about our new album. And so we're very excited at the moment. People seem to like the album a lot, and we're getting great feedback, and we're just looking forward to the first shows and see how the first week goes in the charts, and so very exciting times.
Let's get right into it. This album absolutely blew me away. I'm sure you know that. The album felt very complex to me, like it had so many different layers to it. Something like this, in my opinion, is not something that you can put together overnight. So how long have you guys been working on this album?
Well, some of the songs and parts are a bit older, but I think most of the stuff we did last year. So I would say previous summer and the autumn, that was the busiest time in composing. So maybe 80% of all the stuff was done about there in the summer, autumn, winter last year. But there's some older riffs and melodies that didn't find their place before this. That's the case with every musician. You have some stuff hidden on your computer, and sometimes you find the right spot when you can use them. But maybe half a year we spent like very actively composing the album and arranging it all together. And in December and January, we had these arrangements camps. We went to this, well, summer cottage, but it was winter. So it was a lot of snow and dark. We just stayed there in the forest and played these songs and kind of finalized everything. So I would say about half a year we were really actively doing the new album.
So the sound is also a part of this creative process, I'm assuming.
Yes, it is. And of course, after that comes the studio. But yeah, we always end up in sauna in this rehearsal camp. So we go to sauna in the morning, and then we go to sauna in the evening and have some beers, of course, and talk about life and music and stuff. And in this kind of session, we ended up inventing the idea for Winter Skate, like some years ago. So they can be productive sessions.
They can be very productive. They can be very productive. When you guys are putting together this record, like you said, it was not something that you did just in one weekend. It's kind of like a work in progress. Is there a conscious effort for you guys to ensure the album does not lose, the tracks don't disconnect from each other, that there is an overall feel to the record? Is that something that you guys keep in mind during that process, or you just let things go and then when it comes time to recording, you try to bring it all together?
Well, of course, first we just do music and see what kind of songs we're having this time. But towards the end, of course, you more and more think about these things, and how all these work together as an album, and how the album is supposed to be structured, and what is the song order, what kind of changes we're gonna have from one song to another, like does this one need intro and this one outro, stuff like that. So, but we used to think this music as albums. So first we do the songs or rough versions of the songs, and then we start to put it all together. And even in the mixing phase, we still think about these things, that how do they work together, and how does this work for 1 hour now, this package of music. So we think about those all the time.
During the creation of this album, when you guys were more towards the recording stages, so when you're almost getting ready to have the final product, at any point in time, did you guys look back and say, wow, man, this album is really magnificent. Like this is like a masterpiece of a record. That at any point in time, you guys looked at each other and you're like, wow, we really outdone ourselves?
I wouldn't say that. Usually you are a bit frustrated when you are like trying to finish everything before the studio, and you are a bit uncertain about the songs, and there's this nagging doubt that how good is this time. But I had a good feeling about the songs. I knew it's going to be a strong package, but still it's a nice surprise when people actually hear the songs and they say, well, wow, this is very good and this is masterpiece and so on, because yourself, you have been working with these songs for such a long time that you don't see it anymore yourself. So you can be lost there that, okay, the snare sound is not good enough, or the kick sound is not good enough. This is a shitty record, damn. but when other people hear, they just hear the songs and they're happy with it. So it can be an like eye-opening process to see how other people react to the album. So I think there were really mixed feelings in different parts, like during the whole mixing process and even in the mastering and afterwards. And but at this point, I'm sure everybody's really happy with the album and how it sounds and what kind of songs ended up there. So, but it's a long process to give birth to something like this. It's not easy ever.
No, and I think, like you said, for you guys, because you're listening to the songs you're recording, you went through the process, doubts start to creep in and stuff like that. But for people like me who are listening to the record and listening to the first time, second time, it's all fresh and it's all new. So exactly. we have a much different take than you guys. That after all these years of making music, those doubts still creep in?
Yes, of course. And it's the creative process always that, oh, this is such a good riff. I'm a genius. And the next day, oh, this is shit. I'm the worst ever. I'm just a fraud. Oh, what? It's always the same thing. But I think that's what creative people are like. And it's kind of up and down all the time. And you are the best ever. And then you are the worst ever. So, but at this point of this career, you can maybe deal with these things better. You know that it's part of the whole thing, that at one point it all feels like shit and you are losing hope, but you can maybe guess that it will feel different the next day, or so you learn to cope with that.
I have to ask you this question, because listen to your music and listen to this album now. I have a feeling like, to me, you guys feel like a band that manages to surpass themselves with every single release. There's not many bands out there that can do that have like a upwards graph from record to record. Like, you guys have no dip whatsoever on your discography. It just seems to get better and better and better. Does that put extra pressure on you guys to the next album you're going to work on? Well, we have to surpass the previous album and so forth and so forth, or you guys don't think about those kind of things at all? You're just concentrating on the music itself?
I think we don't think about it too much. Like Winter's Gate, it was a success, put us on another level, and but we really didn't think about that too much. So we just concentrate on making the music, making the kind of stuff we really love, and when it comes from their soul, then it usually touches people, or it has the chance to touch other people. And we've been lucky that other people find our music pleasing, but ultimately it's very selfish. You do it only for yourself. You do the kind of music that you want to hear. But I think that's one of the key things, that we are still here after 22 years making still music, and we've gained this kind of status now. So we've always been honest and true, done exactly what we want, and record companies haven't tried to guide us somewhere, or we're not trying to please the fans or media or other label or anyone. We just do what we want to do. That's it.
I want to take one quick step back to Winter's Gate. That album was very innovative, if you will. Did you guys feel at the time that you put out that record that you were taking a risk, perhaps a calculated risk, with the style of record you were releasing?
Well, of course, we were a bit nervous, of course. Already when we presented the idea to the record label that, guys, we want to do this one really, really long track and have a book with it. But they thought it was a great idea, a cool thing. So they had faith in us. So, but when the album was ready, I think we were sure that it's a good album. It sounds like Insomnium, but there's new stuff there. It's a very unique thing. And I'm very proud of We Just Gate. But of course, now it felt good to go back to the normal album form again and just start making songs and then putting them together in some point, but that you don't have to worry about this whole thing so much right from the start.
The lyrics, I want to talk to you about a little bit about the lyrics, because one of the things, there's two things that always brought me to your band that attracted me to the music. Obviously, the melody, the atmosphere that the tracks have musically, they're just so, they just really, it's like a warm blanket on a cold day. You know what I mean? They just really feel welcoming. But then the other aspect of it is the lyrics. The lyrics on the tracks really find a deep place within your soul to really touch you and pull at your heartstrings. When you guys are creating the tracks, do you create the lyrics separately? Do you work them in parallel? How do the lyrics come together with the music?
Well, normal thing is that we first compose the music, and when the song is kind of almost ready, or the structure is there, and we know the parts, then we'll do the lyrics. That's kind of the last phase in doing the song. But of course, with We Just Gate, it was a bit different because there was this story that I had written a long time ago, and then we started making music that would fit that story. But in that case, also, I did the actual lyrics last, because you have to know the rhythm and the structure and how many syllables you can put there, stuff like that. So that's kind of normal reason why we first have the song and then the lyrics. But lyrics have always been important to Insomnium. It's a very important part of creating the right atmosphere. So we've always put a lot of effort in making them cool. And it's really nice if someone who speaks English as native language can appreciate them. Of course, we're just Finnish guys trying to write English lyrics, and if it works, then it's superb.
Do you, when you're writing the lyrics, do you pull at some personal experience? Is there like a dark place that you go into when you're listening to the music and you're getting ready to write those lyrics? Because some of the lyrics have so much emotional baggage with it. At least to me, it feels that way when I'm listening to the tracks. So how do you pull that energy to create those lyrics?
Well, I go to that dark place, of course. Well, it's a good question, but like personally, I've been always drawn to this kind of music, these kind of lyrics and poetry and literature. So I don't know, it's comes from somewhere, but like writing is my other passion besides music. So I don't know, I guess I have good imagination and empathy skills. So it doesn't mean that I would have been in the same kind of desperate situation myself, but I can relate to that and then write from that point of view. I guess it's something like that, I would say.
You've mentioned that one of your favorite songs on this album is Pale Morning Star. You mentioned that before the video, the lyric video came out. You said that a few people that did interviews, you mentioned that was their favorite song. Mine was this Twilight Trails. I absolutely love that track. I know what attracts me to Twilight Trails, but I want to know what attracts you to a Pale Morning Star.
The feeling, the atmosphere. Both those songs are some of my favorites. They're the longest songs. They feel like kind of that you're on a journey that just goes on to places. It doesn't follow any normal structure or any kind of pop structure that there would be verse and chorus and so on. It just moves on and another part comes, and it's a long, very progressive journey. So I like that kind of music. And like to me, Pale Morning Star, it feels like a Winter's Gate, but in a shorter form. And so it's hard to say what you really find appealing in a certain song. But like these longer, more epic songs are my kind of ultimate favorite songs. So like the Pale Morning Star, of course, and Twilight Trails, and all these longer ones. Yes,
I'm with you. Those long, stretched out tracks with great orchestration, with great melodies, it just takes you on a journey. You know what I mean? You get lost within the track completely.
Exactly, and you forget time, and it doesn't matter if it's 9 minutes or 40 minutes. If it's well made, and you just want to lose yourself there in the music and to get into this dark place and just feel it. Yeah.
By the way, that's one of the best compliments I can give you with this new album is that I completely got lost in the record. I had it on loop while I'm listening to it. I don't even know how many times I went through it because I completely forgot of when it started and when it ended. It was just the whole album is so magnetizing. You just kind of lose yourself within the music. And I think that's perhaps the best compliment I can give you. And I think that's what you want ultimately, for people to get lost in the music.
Exactly. And that's what we try to achieve with this, that it's for sure it's not easy. For people who can't concentrate on more than 15 seconds, they can forget it. They don't try. But we want to make music that is rewarding, that you need a couple of spins before it starts to open up. But once you get lost inside it, you're not getting out anymore, and you don't want to get out. Yeah. You just want to stay there in this magical dark place and this strange atmosphere. So that's what we try to do.
So I have to ask you this. Yanni got added to the lineup into this album. This is the first album that he's full part of Insomnium's lineup. How did that impact the band on this record? And now looking forward, how do you see that impacting future albums of the band?
Yeah, we officially asked Yanni to join the band like the previous summer. So, and then we really actively started composing the album. So he already has a big part here. So he's not just some random bonus dude in a guitar, but already important part of the band. And he's a really skilled songwriter, musician, great guy. And like Mute Is My Sorrow is Yanni's song. And also in Twilight Trails and Neverlast, there are Yanni's parts. And of course, he has affected arrangements in all the other songs as well. So now we have a fourth guy who's actively composing stuff. So I think it's an ideal situation. So there is not one person who would have to carry all the load and produce 10 great tracks. We can just pick the best ideas and best songs, which all of us can put together. So at least with this album, it worked really smoothly. There was very little like fighting about the arrangements or anything like that. It came together quite easily. And with the future albums, hard to say, but I have no reason to think that it wouldn't go like this. And so it's great to have Yanni in the band. It already works like he would have been here for years. Like he knew right away what is Insomnium sound and what kind of melodies and atmospheres we try to achieve. So those two people in the internet who thought that, okay, Yanni will turn Insomnium into Sonata Arctica, I'm sure they now have realized that that's not going to happen. That Yanni is a very smart guy and he's in Insomnium now and he wants to make Insomnium kind of music.
I would be surprised if there was two people that thought that. I think maybe one person thought that.
Yeah, maybe one.
I never in my mind, like that thought never even crossed my mind. I mean, like that would be sacrilege.
It would, but luckily Yanni knows where he was signed, so he's part of Insomnium.
Yeah, he knew where he was getting himself into.
Yeah, exactly.
I have one and a half last question to ask you. I want to talk a little bit about the shows. You guys sold out all of your Finland shows. Incredible. All shows are sold out. You also have a North American tour. For those that don't know, there's a North American tour happening next year around March. I believe starts in March, if I'm not mistaken, or either late February or early March it starts. How important for you, first talking about these shows in Finland, how important for you is to know that these shows are all sold out? Obviously, people are hyped about the album. They want to come and see you guys live. How exciting is that for the band? Not only the feedback you guys got from the record, but now to see that all of your shows in Finland are sold out.
Well, it's very exciting, and of course, I'm a bit nervous right now before the first show. It's in 2 weeks, the first show in Helsinki. It's 1,500 people coming there. I think it's our biggest headliner show ever. So, of course, we're excited and a bit nervous. And we haven't sold out a tour before in advance like this, not even in Finland. So, of course, it's a sign of something that our status is improving all the time, and we've gained some new fans in the recent years. So everything is just looking very good, and I'm sure once we get the first shows done, then we'll see that okay, it goes nicely, and we can just enjoy it and have fun, and not to be too stressed about it.
Well, what are your expectations for the North American tour? You guys were here 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I saw you guys in Toronto play at the Garrison. And it was a sold-out show in Toronto. So what are your expectations for this North American tour that you guys are going to start next year?
Well, we've been there like almost every year now. So we were there. We did our headliner tour. It was last year, and then yeah. And then before that, we were there with Epica, Lacuna Coil, and but we like touring North America, and especially Canada, of course. And shows are good everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's 100 people or 500 people, it's still very good atmosphere always. People are very enthusiastic, so they get pretty wild during the show, and of course for us that feels great, and it's motivating to play to that kind of audience. We're gonna do the tour with Omnium Gatherum, so of course we know the guys, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't know, for Marcus, he has to play 2 shows every night, but at least for all the others it will be a lot of fun, and so we're just looking forward to that as well.
I'm not your tour manager, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. Last time you guys played a headlining show here, well, across North America, you guys only charged $25 for the VIP. I think it's time for you guys to like increase that a little bit. You know? I think you guys are underselling yourselves. So I'm not your tour manager, but this is my advice. Like, increase it just a little bit.
I will tell this to those people who are actually deciding these prices, because we don't do that ourselves. So it's some promoter or agent who picks these numbers. That is it 25 or 35 or whatever.
Yeah, I think you guys are underselling yourselves. I have one last question for you. How do you put up with Mark's shirts on tour? Like these leopard shirts. How are you able to deal with that? I have to finish on this note because those shirts are super distracting.
Well, they are, but I kind of like them already. Well, they fit his character very well. So, and I think Yanni is also now wearing them. So,
oh God,
both of these guitarists on my side are wearing those. So I think it's only fun thing. Yeah.
All right, Niilo, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate you sitting down with me and talking about your record. All the best. I'm not going to wish you all the best because you already sold out all the shows in Helsinki, but I'm going to wish you that those nerves go away and the shows work out really good for you. And I'll see you in March in Toronto.
Yes, we'll do that. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.